Hey everyone, welcome back to SQL AI. I'm Sean, and in today's video, we're going to attempt to write our very first SQL select statement and start working on learning how to pull real data using our Chinook database. Now this is pretty simple, and I think you're going to be amazed at how quickly you start to catch on to this. Now you should have your DB browser installed along with having your Chinook database installed as well. Now if we go to our database structure, we can see all the tables that are in our database. This is going to help us understand what we can start looking for. So let's just run our very first SQL query. So we're going to go over here to execute SQL. Now the first thing that I would recommend is learning to notate your statements, your queries, to make it easier to identify what it is that you're looking for. Maybe there's other people in your office or in your business that are also going to be looking at your queries or running them. We want to have them well notated, but we don't want them to be affecting our SQL query and causing it to error. So the way we do this is we hit two little dashes, and then I'm going to put a title for this. So we're going to say first SQL statement, and I'm going to add a little bit more. What am I doing exactly? The question I'm trying to answer is, who are our customers? That's what we're going to be trying to do today. And then I like to give it a title. Who did this? It was me, Sean, and I did this on May 11th, 2026. And so just get kind of used to putting in those titles, those notations. Now, most SQL courses, teachers that you deal with, they're going to have you start with your select statement. What am I pulling? But I would recommend you start with your from statement, because the first question I ask myself when somebody says, hey, I need this information, the first thing I ask myself is, where is that information? Where am I going to pull that information from? I'm going to be looking today for our customers' information, their first name, last name, maybe what city they're from, maybe their email. I'm trying to get an idea about my customers. That's what the bosses are asking for. I can look here and see that all that information is actually found in the customer table. So that's where I'm going to be pulling from. So we go back to our execute SQL, and we're going to say customer. Now you'll notice that it's already auto-populating this to kind of help you and make this a little easier. I'm going to hit tab. That's what I want. Now the question is, what information exactly do I want to select from the customer table? Well, I know I want first name, and then we're going to add a comma. You have to have a comma after each select. Last name. Add my comma again because I still will need some more information. Let's go with city, another comma, and then maybe email. Now I don't need a comma after email because that's the last thing I'm selecting, right? I just need the commas when I've got more to select from. So these are the things I'm asking for. What is my customer's first and last name? What city are they from? And what is their emails? And I'm pulling that from my customer table. Now, if we have this all set up correctly, all entered correctly, we should get a result. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to hit our execute SQL. And we did get a result. So here's what we know. We have 59 rows. Okay. So we can come to the conclusion we've got 59 customers. Here's all their names, first and last name, what city they're from, what their emails are. And it's really that simple. So you have now completed your first SQL statement, your first SQL select statement. Now, there's a lot of things we can start doing with this. We can start organizing it by and ordering it by. Maybe we only want customers from a certain city. All of these things are doable in our DB browser using SQL, and we're going to be learning more and more how to do those things. But for now, maybe just practice selecting certain information from a certain table and get really familiar with your database structure, and getting used to pulling information from these tables. Maybe you want to do another search, but you want to search for employees. Who's my employees? In fact, let's just do that real quick. Now that we've learned a little bit here, if we hit this little guy here on the left-hand side that says New Tab, that'll let us start a new SQL statement. Again, let's title it. We want this to be, who are my employees? Okay. Make sure we have this labeled correctly. Who's doing this? It's me, Sean. This is my query that I'm doing on May 11th, 2026. All right. So our first thing is select, but I want to start with pulling from. Where am I pulling information from? And then I'll worry about what I'm selecting. Well, I just looked at my database structure. I'm wanting information on my employees. There's a table here called employee. So I'm going to go back to my SQL, and I'm going to choose the employee table. Now, what do I want from here? Maybe I want to know my employee IDs. Let's do last name. That might be a good thing to have. Let's see, what else could we pull from here? Maybe we'll get their title. That'd be pretty useful. And we'll get their hire date. How about that? So I want to know their title. And let's do the hire date. Now again, I don't need that comma after hire date because it's the last thing I'm selecting. I'm selecting from the employee list here. I'm going to go up, I'm going to execute all, and here we go. Here's our list of employees by last name, what their position is, and what date they were hired. And you see how quickly and how powerful SQL can be at pulling information. I hope you've enjoyed this first video. We're going to get more and more in depth as these videos continue. Please do me a favor, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and there's more videos to come.